Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started. Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then, you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, as well as Q&A polls to take conversations with your fans to the next level. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. I'm personally getting a lot out of Spotify for Podcasters, and I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Hello there. I am Valyntina Grenier. Thank you, Preston, for inviting me to read poetry for you and you listeners. I work with ink, paint, neon, recycled materials, and words. I am a multi-genre echo artist living with my wife in Tucson, Arizona. This poem will appear in my first book, Honeymoon Shoes, which is forthcoming from Cathexis Northwest Press in fall of 2023. I'll read it 3 sections from a 3-part long poem called An Oh Well Star. Little one, what love? It's a good thing I'm no Van Gogh. Here for an hour, here unhinged, some neighbor's friend, fresh can snap, dust burst, stark, yellow, hollow, orphan day snaked through corn silk, coiled in cornflower. We spin us in the dust devil of spirits we love. We, how old we, and ankle yet, an hour till ours, still ours, ours. I know, it's hard for the hive, the drive to thrive, the vibe too anxious, to practice keys or strum guitar. My education wasn't wasted on me. If heft, a swallow floats down, with love for this fig bush, I help grow for the world. Pulmonary rush, exhale to make art, a hollow stalk to blow across or through bamboo, hot wind and music, desert oasis shake, laugh hello golden wasp, at rest in the breeze, a mellow moment, bling of ease, bells swing, swell this still point, what wonders turning cease, to weep under the stream of negligence to be free. You can read these sections as well as the whole of Part 2 in the May-June issue of Cathexis Northwest Press. To close with a bit of inspo, I would say that if you are compelled to make art, you are an artist. Collectors, critics, curators, loved ones, the market may have all kinds of things to say about that, but keep making.
These have been the oh-so-soothing words of Valyntina Grenier, and I thank you for sharing your work with us. And man, it put me into a very heightened, relaxed state. But now it's time to wake up! And you're back with me, everybody. The oh-so-unsoothing sounds of my voice. Well, no, thank you, Valyntina. That was wonderful. Loved your work. Loved and love your work. Valyntina came up to me at a Shockbox show and introduced herself, and she was showing her work in the Shockbox show, which I love too. We talked a little bit, and she told me she was a writer and a poet, and I was really intrigued by that. She gave me a couple samples and one of her chapbooks. I was really reading it. I loved it. It had like this redacted kind of style, which I was really intrigued by, which was very unique, which I hadn't seen before. But great work. She is a great artist in general and poet. So highly recommend checking her out at valentinagrenier.com and at Valyntina Grenier on socials, which is spelled VALYNTINAGRENIER. I will put that in the description and the show notes and link up to all that, so you'll have an easy time finding her work. Just wanted to thank you for sharing it with us. So I thought we'd do a little something different. You're probably thinking like, hey, where's the wacky voices at the beginning? Either Preston has a guest on or he's gotten really good at his impressions. Anyway, wanted to move forward into our show today. We're going to do a short one. It is going to be all about taking time and presence with everything you do. I was reminded of this. I went to East West Medicine yesterday and got a little diagnosis on my stuff that I've been going through, the chronic pain. The woman was wonderful, and she really nailed it. She kind of confirmed a lot of the stuff that's been going on with me, that it's partially a structural problem, partially a neuroplastic and kind of trauma-based problem. She just gave me a diagnosis and said, look, you're doing great, you're making progress, but it takes time. Healing takes time. And I was like, man, it's been 2.5 years. But you know what? It reminded me of just like your art career, taking the time to step back, take stock and go, I have made progress. Yeah, I'm making progress. And yes, there is still a ways to go. Yeah, it was just a good lesson. And it really I sunk into it again and just said, okay, yeah, I am making progress like I've known, and it's okay. It's part of the process. The obstacle is the way, and we're going to continue to make progress and just understand that it takes time. And it also focused me a little bit in on this episode, which is about taking time and take time with a wounded hand, 'cause it likes to heal. Okay, sorry about that. Taking time with what you do, taking time and taking the energy and the presence of mind to really focus in on what you're doing, and don't just go through the motions, but really understand that everything is a process and you are basically what you're doing in every moment. You only have this moment, as our friend Eckhart Tolle says, everything is this present moment. Miss Eckhart, haven't listened to him in a while. Have to do that. It's really true, because you can, go through your day and you can hammer out a bunch of stuff and you can tick all these boxes and do your social media posting and do your uploading and do your reaching out to collectors and do your newsletter and do all this stuff and just go bam, 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 do some marketing, whatever it is you're doing in your day, and get in the studio and hammer out a painting or get in the studio and sculpt or whatever it is you do. But if you're not really taking the time to focus in on the process and really sink into what you're doing, that becomes a little bit tangible in your work. I really believe that. I think it's not just about ticking the boxes. I think people can recognize when you've put a lot of effort and a lot of presence and peace of mind into what you're doing. When you really sink into that and get into that flow state, it becomes infused in what you're doing. I really believe that, and I've seen it in my work, and I've seen it even in my sales. When I'm not really hooked into what I'm doing and I'm not really just feeling it and flowing with it and knowing that what I'm doing is of value, my sales suffer. Now, people are going to be like, wait a minute, whoa. That has nothing to do with your sales. But I argue that it does, because I've been doing this for a long time, and it has happened so many times to me, more than I can even count. And there's just something to be said for being in that zone, having that presence. You're really not pushing up against and butting your head up against a wall, or having these opposing forces like the two opposite ends of a magnet repelling each other. That's kind of what happens when you're efforting too much and you're doing your work. Yeah, you're doing it, you're ticking the boxes, but you're just struggling and really pushing too much. I think that's something in life that we all recognize at some point, whether it's a relationship or whether it's business, or whether, you're trying to get in with a job, like get hired, or, get in with a gallery. There's a sense of desperation or just not being in sync with what you're doing. And people can kind of feel that and almost smell that on you. So it is very important to focus in on being present with what you do every step of the way, whether that's uploading online or whether that's creating in the studio or anything that we've named already. Take the time to really focus in on what you're doing and be present with that. Now, you're going to be like, well, how do you do that? Good question. And really, it's pretty simple to explain, but it's really hard to do and to witness. And that's the main thing, is you're really just trying to figure out how to witness it when it's happening in your life and in your day. Because so many people are just so overwhelmed and just kind of fired up on caffeine and, going through their day, just pounding these things out and just trying to get through it all, and that's fine. But I would say quality over quantity. And I think we've talked about that a lot in the past, but I'm just going to say it again because it bears repeating, really. It's very important. You have to witness what you're doing day by day. And a lot of that can be with the breath. If you're working, and I find this with myself too, if I've had a little bit too much caffeine and I'm getting into it, like I can start off very present, but after a while, I have so many things that I'm trying to do that I start to find my breath gets restricted. And I'm almost like holding my breath or mouth breathing, and it's just coming out in a way, and I can feel like, not butterflies, but I can feel like a tension in my stomach, and I'm tensing these muscles that have a lot to do with a lot of contraction, even in my chronic pain. So you can really witness it in the body and the mind. I mean, you can get anxiety from it as well, but I think the first sign is with the body. Are you tensing up? Is your breath labored? Because if it is, you need to take a moment and clear the head and just start breathing through the nose. Take a couple deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, or in through the nose, out through the nose, whatever works best for you. And just do that until you can get refocused and recentered. And then what I like to do is I like to start breathing that way through the work. Like I'll start getting back onto the computer, and let's say I'm uploading to a bunch of places and it's monotonous. Well, I'll focus in on breathing. I'll even do some of those counted breathing exercises that I've done in some of my episodes in the past. And I'll do those interval counting while I am doing the work. Like, okay, breathe in for a count of 7, hold for 28, out through the mouth for 14. And I'll just keep repeating that until I get into that state where I'm almost not even really worried about the counting anymore, and my breath is just coming effortlessly. And I find that I get back into the flow when I do that. So that can also work, in the studio. Music latches me into it. It really does. But there are just days when I'm busy and I'm like, I got to upload this. And later on, I got to do some juring for Shockbox. And then I've got some social media stuff to do. I got this reel I've got to film and get out there. And in the meantime, I got to paint. So you're just thinking a few steps ahead the whole time. Well, take that time, whatever that is, to clear your head, maybe even a little exercise. Stand up, jump up, start doing some jumping jacks, get some oxygen flowing. I like to walk outside with a little bit of sun on me to get a little bit of that dopamine hit and clear my head. Walking just clears your head. And then once I feel like I've gotten into that place of clearing my head, then I'm ready to get back into the studio. Whatever works, I will get on the inversion table and hang upside down, get the blood flow to my brain. Whatever it is that can kind of short circuit your thought process and get you back to a state of being calm and being present. Whatever you have to do, find out what works for you. It's going to be different for every person. These are just some of the things that work for me. But find out what that is, and then I will get back into the studio, put that music on, and then I'm just in that flow state right away. Sometimes it's just the process of getting in the studio and getting the mechanisms going, like getting the physical movement going with the brush or with the tools you're working with, and then pretty soon you will latch into a flow state by starting with the mechanics first. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Just find that way to get into it. So many times we just have to be aware of the signals and the signs and the signposts. And a lot of those come from your body, but other things come from life in general. Like you're just being told, okay, you need to refocus here. You need to calm down. With my body, I get signals all the time. Sitting in my chair, I can do it for a while. But if I'm doing something and I start getting too stressed out, the pain comes back. That's a signal from my body. Look, you got to get up. You got to move around. You got to go sit on the floor for a bit and squirm around and get your pelvis and spine realigned, get the foundation set, and do some of these things. So these are just little signs that you have to get aware of. Like if your breath is being labored, if you are holding your breath, if you are getting anxiety, if you're getting a headache, if you're just feeling overwhelmed, maybe depression sets in. Maybe you just feel like, it's just too much for me today. Well, these are all signs that you might need to take a step back and refocus. Hey, maybe you need to go out and go to the beach or get into the forest or just go for a walk in your neighborhood. Whatever it is, it might seem like something that's a distraction in the moment or something that's taking time out of your busy day, but it's well worth it, because taking those 10, 15, 20, even 30 minutes to just get refocused, you're going to be having a more productive and conscious output moving forward. And people will be able to see that. Like I said before, I guarantee you can see it in the work, you can see it in the productivity, you can see it in the way that you deal with people. So I just wanted to do a little reminder today that we should listen to our bodies, listen to our minds, listen to our psyches, and do what we need to do to have presence in everything that we do and quality in everything we do. It's extremely important. Thank you again, Valyntina, for setting the mood for this episode. It really helped me to get focused for the episode as well. And don't forget to check out her work. Also, just want to give a quick shout out to Art Majour. It is an online art platform and marketplace that I am a member of, and I sell my work with them quite a bit. And they had reached out to me to do an interview for their Art Majour print magazine that came out just recently. I just got my copy in the mail. You can see it on my social media. You can see the links out there. So if you want to see it, it is in French, but we can all translate everything nowadays. But it's pretty cool. It's being released to the public in France and Paris. So that's awesome. And I just wanted to do a little shout out and say thank you to them for including me in their art magazine. That's it for today, everybody. Hope you're doing well. You're probably just getting off your Memorial Day if you're in the United States, or you're just, in your week right now and anywhere else. But thanks for listening. Looking forward to bringing you some more episodes in the future. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your mindset and take care of your presence. Your work and life will be all the better for it, I promise. We are going to leave you with one more short poem from Valyntina Grenier. Hope you enjoy it.
This poem will appear in my first book, Honeymoon Shoes, which is forthcoming from Cathexis Northwest Press in fall of 2023. Square Dance. No other over you for the climate fire, to end this whirl in wonder, desire, with our life's great fortune confounded by virus, police violence. Cancel the rockets, spread out the world-weary sheet again over our brains, banners, bones. Nirvana wins, our hearts twin the hypotenuse to a new song on the radio. We, in wonder, will we go with our lucky love north to Portland, to the Oregon coast, sunset sky, halcyon line, quiet, freedom from heat, wave of chaos, feast. If you'd like to read Square Dance, you can find it on Global Poemic. And for a little inspo idea, I'll dust off a motto of mine from back in 2008. Change is a savings plan. Thanks a lot.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, Please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.